Thank you for allowing this information to percolate into the physical reality framework that you are all connected with. Remember that the physical reality experience you all have is only about 10% of the available perceivable reality frameworks layered upon each other that exist. The physical reality being just one of the many layers, because remember, there are layers of reality that go deeper than the physical, and they are lower in vibration than the physical. So you have realities that are actually more physical, more material than the realm of physical reality that each of you occupy. You also then have layers of reality frameworks that make up the other 90% in terms of perceivable reality experiences. But please understand, these divvying ups and percentages of perceivable reality are not necessarily fixed in terms of a hard boundary where you have a static, unchanging 100% of the universe. You have within this universal experience and reality and multi-universal experience expansion taking place at multiple levels of infinity, and with that you have high vibrational, non-physical realities that are always in expansion and are always working to create higher vibrational reality experiences that can then be explored. So these are new realms that are connected to universal expansion. So that 100% isn't necessarily a cap, it's just talking about the perceivable aspects of reality. And these perceivable aspects can continuously and infinitely expand. Each layer of reality, your physical realities, your quantum realities, your etheric realities, your astral realities, your galactic universal realities, your multi-universal realities, all of these different layers, and even the lower vibrational ones, you have your subatomic realities, you have your chemical realities. Each of these experiences are able to infinitely expand, so new levels of expansion can take place within each of these specific layers, and new layers can always be created. So understand that there is perceivable aspects of this, but each aspect will infinitely expand. So when you are in your physical reality framework, what you're experiencing is a convergence upon the lower vibrational realities as well as the higher vibrational ones coming into harmony with your consciousness. And the idea is that your consciousness stretches infinitely in both directions of high and low vibratory frequencies, because you are connected to each level of creation, because you are creation itself and you're connected to the whole thing. So when you are in the human body, you are experiencing all of these different multi-leveled aspects of existence converging into your reality. So you're not just looking at a physical reality. It might just seem that way. It might look like you're just perceiving one level and one layer of the reality experience, but what you're actually perceiving is all of the layers converging at a physical reality framework. And this is very important for many of you to realize, because many people on Earth have this issue with the physical reality, believing it must be transcended, believing that it is not spiritual, believing that it is strictly suffering. So understand that that is just a cultural belief system. The physical reality experience contains both heaven and hell, because both aspects are able to be created here, because all levels of spirit simultaneously connect to this reality. So in this reality framework, you can create a higher vibrational experience here, and that would translate into a very positive reality framework where you're experiencing synchronicity and things you desire, and the amount of fun you wish to have, and the amount of challenge and mystery and magic and expansion, all of these things, you can bring into this experience because this physical reality experience is associated with all of those elements because it's connected to all of those various realities. You also can bring in lower vibrational experiences, such as feelings of suffering, feelings of powerlessness, unhappiness, contraction, and all of the stimuli associated with that, because both of these high and low vibratory experiences can be accessed in the physical. So understand, the physical reality is just an illusory convergence experience, and it is the convergence of all possibility. And the idea is that you can play out any and all possibilities within the physical reality framework. You can go into whatever experience you want here, and what allows for you to do that is your level of belief in your ability to do so, because it is the belief that orients your perception in terms of the experience that you are going to be manifesting within the physical framework. So if you have a belief system that says, I am disconnected, powerless, and weak, and alone, and life is no fun, then that means you will be summoning those low vibratory energies into the physical reality framework, and you will be using your God, Goddess manifestational toolbox to then build a physical reality framework based in that vibratory resonance with those negative realities, and you will create a hell on earth. And so many people on Earth do that they actually believe that that's just the fundamental way that Earth and the physical reality framework is. So they believe they must transcend the whole experience altogether. But in reality, the complete opposite can be manifested in the physical reality framework. You can also manifest into this framework all of the elements of creation that you associate with positivity, such as community, love, excitement, passion, expansion, mystery, magic, synchronicity, self-discovery, complete and total unity consciousness with all beings on Earth, and heart-based awareness with all beings on Earth. All of this can be accessed from the physical reality framework, and that is what you call heaven on earth, and that can also be created here. So remember, your version of this physical reality framework is up to you and your belief systems. Now, remember, you have many belief systems that are at a subconscious level of functioning. And in order to change them, you must bring them to the conscious level. You must allow for them to permeate your conscious awareness so you can see what type of reality you're creating. And you can then implant into your subconscious any belief systems you prefer. And it's that easy. You must just begin to affirm these to yourself, create these. Bring in unconditional love and positivity and positive emotion to the new belief systems. Amplify them. You can even store them in parts of your body. So you could say, I believe I am connected to all that is in unity consciousness. And you can put that into your brain. Become aware of your brain. Feel feelings of love and gratitude and joy in your brain. See your brain in your imagination. And affirm that belief to yourself. And you're actually programming that right into your brain. And that means your brain will then begin to program that into the energetic mechanisms used for the manifestation processes of your reality experience. You can do the same thing with your heart, all of your bones, your cells, anything you can put your awareness on, you can program. And you're already doing this because your belief systems are that programmable energy going into all of these physical databases that are micro-consciousnesses, such as the cells that make up the tissues that make up the organs. This is all micro-consciousness, and it all compiles together and builds upon itself to create a level of vibration called the human body, and this level of vibration is capable of then manifesting in a consciousness that can work in a symbiotic relationship with the body so that both the body and the consciousness inhabiting it can both go on a journey. So understand, you as a spirit, as a consciousness, are having your evolutionary process of soul growth here on Earth. And your body is actually having its own animalistic and cellular spiritual experience of expansion and growth here on Earth. So you are actually a combination of infinite varieties of consciousness that is walking symbiotically, and each aspect is growing. So understand, you are also, as a spirit and a soul, teaching your body, and your body as a spirit and soul is also teaching you. And you are both going on your journeys. But remember, it is your belief that programs the body. Remember that. Your belief programs the body because the body is a part of the physical reality framework. So the body is completely customizable. And it is your belief system that will build a healthy body, a strong body, or a weak, decrepit body. Now remember, your soul will pick certain body types based on desires the soul wishes to have. So sometimes an unhealthy body, a sickly body, will be chosen by a consciousness because the consciousness wishes to see what that experience is like, and the reason for this depends on that soul's particular desires. Sometimes this is done just for the sake of learning about what it is to be sick, because in another lifetime that soul wishes to be a healer. And this is a very common theme that is explored. Other times, a soul will incarnate into that body because it represents an intense level of challenge for the soul. So the soul can come in and experience a sickly body, and then it is then up for that soul to then be a healer in this incarnation, where it has the sickly body, to then heal the body. And it then also allows for a variety of unique challenges to take place for that consciousness, that spirit inhabiting the body, to see if it can transcend and overcome. And these are some of the reasons for why this can happen. There are other reasons too, such as soul punishment. And this is not because there is a God that's punishing the soul, but sometimes consciousness contains within it levels of judgment and negative belief systems that cause it to spiral cyclically. And sometimes souls will incarnate repeatedly into sick bodies because they have identified so strongly with that reality experience that when they are in the afterlife, the charge of that experience is so high, and its gravitational pull as an experience is so high for that consciousness because it's so identified with it, it can get actually sucked back in. And souls can cyclically incarnate in sick bodies. And this is another aspect of a consciousness experience that happens on Earth in relationship to the body. And there are other variations, but this is just some of the major ones that take place. In addition to this, your body, as we were saying, is going through its experience, and it will actually pick souls and spirits to inhabit it, so that way it can go through its learning. Because remember, the human body is eventually going to die, and it will send its animalistic cellular consciousness back into the earth. So understand, this micro-consciousness compilation that makes up the body is the earth consciousness. So the earth is learning and teaching you via the human body. So as the body then dies after having gone hand in hand in the relationship with the consciousness inhabiting it, it then decomposes into the earth, and all of the lessons that body has gone through, all of the experiences that body has gone through are then brought back into the earth. And then this goes to make up the new plants that will grow on earth, which are then consumed by animals. Then the animals are actually carrying the human experience with them. So animals then are on the same page as human beings in terms of understanding. And it allows for a physical level of communication interwoven with the spiritual level of communication to take place between the animals and the human beings. This is also taking place upon a bacterial and fungal level as the human body is then broken down. And it is the bacteria and the viral as well as the fungal aspects of the earth consciousness that then take this and then send it into the deepest levels of animal-based means of communication networks that maintain the homeostatic functioning of planet Earth in terms of the beings inhabiting the surface. So the fungi, as well as the bacteria, and many of the insect beings, and some of the parasitic beings, these are homeostatic maintainers of physical reality consciousness. So as the human body is then broken down, this is then transferred into all of these different micro-consciousnesses that make up your homeostasis of the physical reality framework. And then this goes to make up the plants, but it also is transported psychically throughout that communication network of homeostatic maintainers of planet Earth. Understand as well that many of these bacteria and fungi and parasitic beings have realities that are not just Earth-based, but are also on other planets, because many of them are off-world in the sense that they did not only originate there, but they are also growing on other worlds, and this link is psychically maintained. So the human experience is then actually able to percolate and travel into other realities as the human body is then broken down, and this allows for an interplanetary communication network to take place. This communication network also reverberates into the crystalline matrix of Earth, because each of these insects and fungi and bacteria are all electrically based beings, as are the human animals. And it is the electrical nature of these beings that generates electromagnetic frequencies that then actually vibrates throughout the crystalline matrix and matrices that make up Earth. And it is this communication network that then stores the human experiences within the crystalline nature of the physical reality experience in terms of the Earth consciousness, and it's stored in there electrically as well as psychically. This then allows for these crystalline databases to then send that information to various different subatomic realities that exist within the Earth network. And these subatomic reality experiences are not just chemical reality experiences or the experiences of atoms, but they are also the space as well as the quantum field and the quantum realities that exist between all of these particles that aren't necessarily particles, because they become very wave-like when you begin to observe them at that level. And this then gives rise to a level of communication network that exists within the Hollow Earth framework, as it's been called in your cultures through ancient histories. And this Hollow Earth network is the network of beings that exist within these quantum fields of the molecular structures that make up Earth. And it is these crystalline matrices that store in these electrical stimuli from the decomposition of the human body, as well as all of the electrical stimuli on Earth, that then send that into this molecular reality experience and the quantum experience associated with that. And this allows for the beings and the realities that exist within there to remain in a constant communication network with the surface and the physical reality Earth. And it's also a two-part way, because that psychic and electrical energy is able to program these realities and it's able to enter them, but it's a two-way level of communication, because these are vast reality experiences that exist within the molecular quantum level. So all of this energy from these levels is then able to travel into the physical reality framework through the same mechanism. It goes through the crystalline nature of the Earth, which has its own electromagnetic frequency that it is giving off, and this is also programming all of the fungi and the bacteria, as well as the human beings and the plants, and this then goes into the reality experience. And as we said in the beginning of this conversation, you also have the lower levels in terms of deeper and deeper and deeper of the reality experiences beneath the physical. This is the Hollow Earth ones. They're literally beneath the physical. They're deeper. And they are able to then come up, and their energies reach this convergent point where you are. So you are also receiving manifestational communication and psychic communication from these Hollow Earth networks, as well as all of the other micro-consciousnesses of the plants, animals, fungi, and bacteria and insects that we have mentioned. This then, of course, goes into the cosmic expression of consciousness. And this then goes into what you understand as astral, etheric. Quantum exists both in the molecular levels and the deeper hollow earth levels, but it also exists on the more cosmic levels as well. You also then have the galactic and universal levels of consciousness that also exist, and the dream levels of consciousness that also exist, and these are all stacked on top of each other, but they also bleed through and they're interwoven with each other. So each level of consciousness can then communicate with one another across the entire spectrum. We will be getting into the levels of galactic, universal, astrum, quantum, etheric, and dream-based levels of consciousness, which you look at as the heavens or above the physical, but remember they're interwoven. We will be getting into that at another time, but we hope this has been sufficient for an explanation of the depth of communication and interconnectivity that exists in this reality experience that you are having. Thank you.